Going into the spring, obviously, DJ is kind of the guy that we're ultra familiar with. What is it that you want to see DJ do to take the next step?
Be a more of a communicator. You know, every year we come back and we say, what can we do to get better at linebacker? And this year it's about the communication factor. Last year we had some things that we needed to get fixed as far as the red zone, making sure the group has a red zone step up and not panic in the red zone from the year before, and we did. So this year it's going to be more of a communication factor because you have some new guys. Now you got to communicate to take control of the defense. You can't sit back and just let somebody else do it. You have to do it. And the biggest emphasis this spring is making sure we communicate with the secondary, get the front lined up, and play the game. Don't sit back and just let something wrong when you know it's wrong happen. And that was the biggest emphasis this year from DJ we want.
He obviously considered potentially leaving the program, decided to stick with it, come back, and go after it this coming year. What were conversations with him like immediately after that, as you and him kind of hatched out what he wanted to accomplish in 2020?
You know what? I never got in anything. The only thing I always told DJ is the biggest thing with me is just let me be your coach. You know, anything else outside of me being your coach and me helping you with life situations that's pertaining to you, I can help you with. But anything outside, financial and all that stuff, I don't get involved in. But when he came back, we just talked about, what's the next step in your career, where you want to be at, what you want to do. And we talked about it, where he wanted to be the best linebacker that comes out of Florida State. Great, that's great. Now, how are you going to get those things done? Or the weight room, the academics. You already graduated. That's first step. Now, what you going to do in grad school? What you going to do on getting your second degree? How are you going to model yourself to be that picture page of guys who've come through Florida State as great linebackers and great people. So we talked about those things.
Got a whole lot of young guys in that group. Some of them with some experience. Blake Nicholson being one of them. He did not have a spring last year. He got here later than that. How much will this spring benefit a guy like Blake Nicholson specifically?
You know what? For these guys, it's going to be a big step for Blake, Cryer, Murphy, the transfer from Alabama, and DeMarco Ward. Those are going to be the guys that have to take that next step. And Omar. Omar played a little last year, but our expectations, Omar should be the next step of you got to be able to replace or better than Tatum and Deloach because you've been here at that time. So when you think about it, you're putting the pressure on be who you are, but take that next step, the maturity factor of understanding what we're doing. Don't panic, play the game, each day one play at a time. Do those things, but not panic on something goes wrong, you get in the tank or you get nervous. Play it every day like it's a game.
Sean Murphy's been with you about 8 weeks now, 2 months. What has stood out in your early experiences with him?
Murphy's a mature guy. This is third year in college. He's been through a system at Alabama. He's been through Alabama. But he's a mature guy. He's not a guy that's coming in that's, I could say, like fly by night, excited. He's excited about being here, but he understands the game. He understands about taking notes. He understands of what to ask questions when things not going the way you want him to go. And I think the more he does that, the better off he's going to be. And from the whole group, that's what the expectations are. I mean, the Blake, Cryer, DeMarco, they got to grow up. They have to grow up. That's part of it. Does Tamiri and Jaden have to be a part of it? Yes. But the guys who grew up with fast and the guys who's ready to take that next step will go through the spring, and that's my job to get it done.
For you, how much is the spring sort of a grading ground of figuring out we are ready for August with the group we have, or maybe do we have to go look at getting somebody out? Because so many young guys that you do need to take a next step.
You know what? I don't think that way. I think the guys you got to do, let me go back. A coach told me this a long time ago. He said, if you coach every player like he's a starter, he'll be a starter. But if you coach a player like he's going to make mistakes, he'll make mistakes. So in my mindset, all these guys right here is who we have, and this the guy's going to be on the team. I don't look for that next guy. I always look at what we have on our team. And no matter what happens in the spring, it's still my job to get him to play. And when the spring go by, I got all the time in August to get him ready again. And I tell everybody, what we do in the spring is part of spring. Now, when August comes, whatever you do in the spring is gone. I can't worry about what happened in the spring. Now I got to worry about getting you ready for the season. And whatever you do from there, August to season start, that's the next step.
Not really a spring question, but is there a prototype for you at linebacker? Is there something specific you look for in a linebacker?
Athletes, very athletic guys. Over the years of coaching linebackers, some of the best guys, even that I've coached over the years, have all been like offensive players growing up, tailbacks, tight ends, athletes that are very physical, very tough, and very smart. If you get those type of guys into a system, great things going to happen for you. But if you're going to look for a 6'2", 6'3", 225 linebacker that comes off the edge, that can stop the run, that ain't us. Because at this time and age, football has changed. You look at the NFL, everybody's going 3 receivers in the game, flexing tight ends out. You have to cover a real tight end instead of you covering a slug. Those days are over with. So I think those guys, you have to be athletic, you got to be fast, and you got to be ready to play the game.